Hello, and welcome to the Carla Knits podcast. This is a podcast about knitting, crocheting, and always all of the yarny goodness that I love. Today is Wednesday, October 12th, and it's episode 60. I am coming to you from a very windy and sunny day here in Nebraska. You can find me on Instagram and Ravelry and my Etsy shop as cbcraftygirl. And we do have a podcast group for this podcast on Ravelry. And currently we have a make-along going on Ravelry. And this is a Love Your Stash make-along for 2022. So started in January and goes through the end of the year. And this is to make things, knit or crochet things using yarn that was in your stash prior to January 1st of this year. So I draw quarterly prizes from both a chatter thread and a finished object thread. So today I am going to be drawing prizes from those threads for the third quarter of this year. So that covers July, August, and September. And currently, I just thought I'd tell you how many posts total we have in those groups. So in the chatter posts, this is what I looked yesterday. There were 1,819 chatter posts. And in the finished objects, 856 posts. So lots of activity going on. It's just great to see all that you guys are making, and it's wonderful to chat with you guys, you know, whether it be about those projects that you're making or stash yarn or just life, what's going on in life with your life in general. It's just been great. So I'm going to announce prize winners. I did a random number generator. And so I did specifically July, you know, the first post in July through the end of September. So for the chatter posts, it was between numbers 1,397 and 1,753. And post 1407 was chosen. And the winner is Bookworm 91402, and that is Eileen. So congratulations to you, Eileen. If you can get me your mailing address, I will get your prize out to you. It's this little needle cozy with yarn and knitting terms on it. This is by Daisy Girl. So either DPN holder, it's got the snaps, or you can put your circular needles in there to hold onto your project too. So I sometimes use it for my sock knitting projects. So a needle cozy, and then some stitch markers by Hand Stitched Life. And I thought those colors matched perfectly. So Eileen, again, if you can direct message me on Ravelry with your full name and mailing address, I'll get those out to you. So congratulations, Eileen. And then our winner from the finished object thread, the posts were 588 to 835, and post 671 was chosen. And this is Rose, I'm just going to, ROSALBA capital B. So it looks like Rosa LBAB. And I know that's Rosie. So congratulations to you, Rosie. And I'm going to pop a picture of her finished object in here. It was a pair of mitts. It's the P2 mitts by Heidi Allender. They're fingering weight mitts, and I love the color choices that you used in those mitts, Rosie. Those look like a really fun knit. They would be great for a gift knit, and it looks like you could use up some different fingering weight scraps on that. So it looks like a great project. So Rosie, you get this fall project bag that I made. So it's a pumpkin spice project bag. It's a sock size. And along with that, I am going to include some rose gold hexagon stitch markers. So both of those will be coming to you. And Rosie, I believe I have your mailing address, but if you could just get in contact with me that you saw this, that would be great. So congratulations to our winners. And we are in our final quarter for the year. So what is that? October, November, December. So keep making those, keep using your stash knitting and crocheting, and keep chatting about whatever you'd like to chat about in the chatter thread. And I will pull, you know, one final prize from the chatter and finished object thread in the first podcast in January. So congratulations to our winners, and thank you all so much for participating. I hope you are enjoying using your stash. And I did say this last time, but I will continue the stash make along. It might just make a few changes, but I will be continuing it into 2023. So we'll continue to use our stash. I will continue to try to be better about using my stash. So that will continue. All right, I'm going to take a quick sip of water. I feel like I'm talking fast. It's about, let's see, what time is it? It's about 1 o'clock on Wednesday afternoon. And normally I am teaching piano at the college at this time, but I had several people that were going to be gone. And so I canceled class today. It just made sense. It's right before fall break. So, yep, I canceled class. So I am done for the day, which is really nice. I had my elementary age students this morning, but now I am off for the rest of the day. But I've been running around doing a few things this morning, so I'm just out of breath a little bit, but now I just need to sit and relax and chat with you guys. All right, what I am wearing and finished object. I am so excited to have this off my needles. This is the Salty Air Tea by Samantha Guerin. I started this in July and finished this month. The yarn that I used is Knit Picks hand painted Stroll in the Poppy Field tonal colorway. I used almost full three skeins of the fingering weight yarn. So a couple of things. It's a little big. I did swatch for this sweater. I made 2 swatches and blocked them. You know, and I usually do between a 5 and 6 inch swatch. I don't usually skimp on my swatches, and then I block it because, you know, I treat it how I would finish my finished garment, you know, so I would block my finished garment. So I block, you know, wet block and dry my swatch. So, you know, I picked my size based on my swatch, but this yarn definitely grew more, I feel like, with the weight of the yarn, the weight of a bigger piece of fabric with this yarn, it definitely grew. I knit the size 6, and I probably should have knit the size 5 or maybe even the 4. But based on my gauge swatch, I thought I was getting closer to the size 5, or that's what I would get with the final product, but it's bigger than I anticipated, which I don't necessarily mind here. I like the drapiness of it, but it definitely falls off the shoulders a little bit. And I don't know if you can see, it goes pretty far down and back. So some of you might be saying, well, how about reinforcing the neckline? So that is something that I looked into, and that is something that I did try. So if you don't know this, if you have a neckline or shoulder seams, you know, that tend to sag, you can reinforce, in this case, along the inside of the ribbing, at the bottom of the ribbing, with a crochet chain, and that helps stabilize your neckline so it won't stretch as much. And so I did try that. I did stitches along the front, the back, and a little bit at the shoulders, but it did not pull it in enough. It didn't really seem like it did much of anything. So right now I just have this is a tank or a cami. I have a cami with these thin straps, but I think I would like to get like a tank top with wider straps to wear under that, just so it shows, you know, so the the tank will show a little bit. Then I won't feel quite so self-conscious like it's gonna fall off. I really am happy with this sweater. I just wish it wasn't so big up here in the neckline. But I don't know if I can stand up. I'm probably too close to the camera, but hopefully you can see that beautiful detail. What do I want to say? Very happy with this pattern, with the lace work. I think it turned out to be a gorgeous sweater. I'm very proud of this sweater and of the lace work. I would definitely knit this pattern again, but I would go down. I would go down at least one size. I think I always choose bigger sizes than I should according to my bust size, because I want something a little oversized and drapey. I never want my knitwear and my clothing in general, I don't want them to be, you know, very form-fitting, just because, you know, we all have our problem areas that we, or, you know, body image and things that we maybe don't necessarily want to show everybody. So I am, you know, most comfortable in drapey, you know, slightly oversized to oversized clothing. So that's kind of the way I do my knitwear, which, you know, usually works out down here, but definitely up here, this should have been smaller. So if you have any thoughts or suggestions, I actually did throw it in the dryer for a very little bit, but really was scared to put it in for too long. I like the length of it, so I don't really want to mess with that, and I don't know if that would take it in enough even drying it. So I think the answer is I'm going to get a tank top to wear under this, because I will wear a tank or a cami anyways, just because the lace, you know, has the holes to see through. So I think with the right tank top underneath, it's going to be just great. So that is my Salty Air Tee. Love the color. You know, I wore this to work today, and when I came out, Jeff said, "Oh, your sweater is so pretty." So, you know, that was really sweet, and, you know, he knew I made it. So, always fun to wear knitwear that you've made, and it's a nice enough day that I could wear it. It's not too hot. We're supposed to be in the high 60s today, so I'd like it maybe a little cooler still, but no, it's very pleasant out, and with the wind, this kind of makes the perfect top for today. So, all right, I think that is all I wanted to say. Well, one more thing. I worked on this sweater as part of a Cal knit along being hosted by the Nitty Bitty Sisters. Nitty Bitty Sisters, yes. They are hosting a sweater cal on Instagram using the hashtag Sweater Whip Cal 2022. So I believe it goes until the end of this month. So finishing up any sweaters that you had in progress. So I'm glad I got to finish this one, and I will show you in a little while progress on another sweater that I am doing as a whip for their make along. All right, besides this finished object, I have one other finished object, and that is my pumpkin tweed blanket, and I'm really gonna get warm now. So here it is. It is quite long, so still pulling. Hope you can see all of that. So I actually doubled this in length, and I had talked about that on the last podcast. So it stopped after 12 sections. Let's see. So 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. No, I take that back. It stopped after 8 sections. So this right here, if I'm showing that, yes, that would have been the size of the blanket, which I consider more of a baby blanket. Granted, I am a tight knitter and crocheter. This is a crochet pattern, but yeah, that little bit was just not enough. So I actually had enough yarn I don't know if I just really overestimated how much yarn I needed. I'm not sure, but I doubled it. So I used 12 skeins. So 12 skeins out of stash, which is good. I know I bought it this year, but that's okay. 12 skeins out of stash. But I really like it. I think if I made it again, I would make it a little wider. It just seems a little odd. It's maybe not as wide as I would like it to be. It's definitely long enough, but maybe just not as wide. This was a really fun crochet pattern. It's called the Pumpkin Tweed Blanket by Krista Cagle, and it uses Lion Brand Vanna's Choice yarn, which is really nice to work with, in the rust color and the gray marble color. And I did throw it in the washer and dryer. It softened it a little bit and, you know, came out just really nice. So it is really nice to be able to wash and dry, you know, something that you've made. I wanted to say this the last time and I kind of forgot, but Jenna is my daughter, my teenage daughter, and she just kind of cracked me up. She definitely did not like this tweedy section, this gray tweedy, and I don't know how well you'll be able to see it, but there's little black flecks in there, and she said those black flecks look like guinea pig poop. And so she was trying to pull them out of my blanket as I was crocheting. I'm like, stop, I like that. But she just kept saying, you know, I just remember being at cousin Allison's house and, you know, she put her guinea pig out on me and it was on me and then it pooped. And those little bits look just like guinea pig poop. So I think I will always remember my dear daughter saying that when I use this blanket or when I see this blanket. I just think that's kind of funny, but I actually really like the Tweety bits in there. I think it's really fun. And I'm really excited to have this as a new fall blanket for our living room. Yeah. It's a free pattern on her website, Krista's website. You can also buy it as a PDF, so you don't have to go through the ads. You just get the PDF. So highly recommend that fun crochet blanket. And that went pretty fast. I have two half objects to share with you. The first, just reaching over to the side here. The first is they're both DK weight socks. This I shared last time as a work in progress, and it was pretty close last time to being done. But this is a DK weight sock. I used the DK Vanilla sock pattern by the Crazy Sock Lady. The yarn is by Freckled Whimsy in the 24 stripe experiment, and it came with this contrasting mini. So those markers over here just notate every 10 rows. Yeah, so I really love how that turned out. I just think that's such a pretty self-striping yarn. Yeah. So that's the first of my half objects. My second half object is another DK weight sock using the same pattern. And this is, the yarn is Night Owl Fibers. It's her Halloween colorway and it's Spooky Fun 2022. This did not come with the contrasting mini, but I did add this mini in. And this is Night Owl Fibers. The contrasting mini is this skein of yarn. This is, the colorway is Tiger Lily, and it's by Lazy Bee Yarns, which is a Lincoln, Nebraska dyer. And I'm using this in another project that I'll be talking about, but it is DK weight and it does contain nylon. It's the same blend as the main color. So I thought that would be good. And I think that looks pretty good in there. So I really like how that turned out. So that leads me, and I did start this on October 1st. So it really was fun to cast on, you know, a Halloween sock on October 1st. So that leads me into my whips, which are both socks. So on the first, the Freckled Whimsy, it's barely cast on. I don't even have all of the ribbing done. 2, 4, 6, 2, 3, 4. Yep, I still have about 3 rounds of ribbing to do. And I did not start it in the same place. So they're not going to be completely matchy. But it's the same colors. It'll just be in a little different order. So, yep, so just a little cast on there. But I'm really enjoy working on socks, and especially DK weight socks, because they go much faster. So you see your progress much faster. And also the stripes, just, you know, it's just fun getting to those stripes and getting to the new color. And then on my Halloween sock, I am further along on this. So I cast this on, I don't know, maybe 2 days ago. And so I have the cuff done and then part of the leg. But I was at a car dealership having one of our cars serviced yesterday. So I had to wait for it. Not car service, but keys. I'll talk about that in chatter. So I had to wait for a little while. So I worked on my sock. Always have my knitting with me. You just never know when you're gonna need it. And I had a good chunk of time yesterday afternoon, so I enjoyed working on my sock. All right, I have 2 more works in progress to share with you. It just doesn't seem like a lot, but I had 2 pretty big finished objects today, so I hope that's okay. I have my other sweater that I had mentioned. So this is my Sand Shore cardigan. This is by, let's see, Alicia Plummer. And I had the body done, the back all the way down to the ribbing last episode, and now I have one of the sleeves done. And it turned out to be, I said I was going to make it longer because it did say about 3/4. It was supposed to be like right at the elbow. But I did it down, and it's about bracelet length. And I think when I am going to wet block it, so I think it might grow a little bit. And then I don't know if I'll stick it in the dryer, because I know this one you're supposed to hand wash and lay flat to dry. So maybe not. But it's bracelet length, which I'm very happy with that. So the pattern had you go down, 3/4 length, but because I wanted to do longer sleeves, the modification that I made to the pattern was to do more decreases because, oops, I'm getting caught, because this part of my arm is definitely thinner than this part of my arm. So I did a number of decreases down to my wrist. So 1 sleeve done, and that got done in about 2 days, and not really full sittings or anything. So I hope I can crank the next sleeve out. I've already got it. I picked up the sleeves stitches today. I thought, yep, I'm just gonna do that. I actually bound the ribbing on the sleeve off this morning, and then I thought, yep, I'm just gonna pick up the sleeve on the other side, and we'll get going after I podcast. So really excited about this. I definitely feel like I will be done with that sweater also for the Nitty Bitty Sisters Sweater Whip Cal. So really excited to be getting near the end with those 2 sweaters. My final work in progress, don't have a whole lot, but it is the Sonatine cowl. I showed a picture last time. If I remember, I will insert a picture. But there's a lot of garter in the cowl, and then there's a lace section. And I had asked last time if I should do, maybe you remember now, if I should do the garter in this with the lace in this, or the garter in this and the lace in this. And overwhelmingly, you guys, you know, kindly suggested, you know, do the garter stitch, the main fabric in the speckled, and do the lace in the solid tonal color, you know, so you can see the lace. Otherwise, the lace might get lost in there, which is what I was leaning towards. So this was the Tiger Lily colorway by Lazy Bee Yarns. This speckled goodness, also by Lazy Bee Yarns, is called Garden Party. So, but again, it just reminds me of fall colors, but with a little pop of neon in there, like leaves with really neon pops. So this is the progress so far. I just have that stitch marker notating the right side, so I know where to do, which side to do my increases on, which it should be obvious, but when you're tired and your mind's going a million miles, it's sometimes good just to have that marker notating, okay, that's the right side. So, you knit flat for a while, it's my understanding, and then you will eventually work it in the round. I did not read completely fully ahead in the pattern, so you may just knit the whole thing flat and then seam it up, but I will let you know as I continue working the pattern. So I think that's going to be really pretty together, and I'm anxious, you know, I have a ways to go on this part before I get to that lace section. But this has just been a really nice, easy, calm, relaxing project. So I feel like that's where my knitting is right now. I just have some, you know, some really easy knitting with my socks. You know, I have to think a little bit when you get to the heel flap, but I've done enough socks that it's fine. Not a lot, just, you know, changing colors for those contrasting heels. But, you know, that's fairly simple. Once I pick up the, you know, do the sleeve, you know, I have to think about the decreases, but that's not bad. It's just knitting in the round. And then this is just garter stitch with some increases. So some very easy things to knit on right now. So just those 4 projects currently on my needles: the sweater, the Sonatine cowl. I didn't say who that was by. That's D. O'Keefe. And then the 2 socks. Upcoming plans. I need to get my October dishcloth cast on. That's by the Kitchen Sink Shop. So hopefully that's something that will get cast on in the next couple of weeks. I would like to get that done in October. And then I had shown a sweater, a Colorwork sweater last time, and I think I said the name of it wrong. I said arboreal, ARBOREAL, and I think it's pronounced arboreal. So this is just one of those words I've seen my whole life, because there is a restaurant near where I grew up that's called the Arboreal Inn, but I always, you know, since I was a kid, I always called it the Arboreal Inn. So now I'm just like, gosh, it's something I've said in my head all these years from when I was really little, but I think it's arboreal. So if you laughed last time when I said the sweater, it's totally okay. Yeah, I knew when I said it, I'm like, yeah, that did not come out right. But the arboreal sweater is by Jennifer Steingass. And it's the Colorwork sweater with like a lace or a leaf motif on it. So that is still something I would like to make. I'm hesitant to cast that on. I also thought, because there's another like tee that I would like to make, the Willa tee, and that's by the same designer as the Kaisa tee that I made earlier. I think that is This Bird Knits. So a tee, you know, typically will go faster, and I think it's just, that one would be just a 2 skein on really big needles. So I could see doing that. I just don't want to have too many projects right now, and I don't know if I'm feeling a little burned out on sweaters. I've really enjoyed both of my sweater projects. I really have. Things have just been really busy. I guess we're going into chatter now. So yeah, life has just been a little hectic lately. All three of our cars decided to have issues at the same time. And I know we are so blessed to have our cars. I am thankful for our cars. But we are so reliant on them. And when one goes out, yeah, it's a little, it's a headache. But when all three have problems, it felt really overwhelming. So I had to get new tires on mine. And then my car is also in the shop currently being fixed because I was in an accident in a parking lot. Nobody was hurt, but some damage to the bumper. So we are without that car currently. My husband had his tires, we checked his tires, and his were so bare the metal was showing. So we needed to replace his tires. So we were getting that done. And then Jenna's gear shift broke. We got that worked out, and then her car wouldn't start. We had to get it towed, and then it was a whole issue with keys and everything. So I was at the keys needed to be replaced. So I was at the car dealership getting keys replaced for her car yesterday. So just managing the carpooling, and thankfully we live in a very small town. So, we can walk, it's close enough to walk to and from work. Jenna's even closer, walking to and from the high school. So we've been able to manage. It's just been out of the ordinary. So we have 2 of 3 cars back. So mine is still being worked on, and I called today, and there's still parts that they're waiting on. So hopefully soon. I appreciate Jeff sharing his car and carpooling with me. Then we have a sailboat, and it was time to take the boat out of the water. So on Saturday, we with the help of our son Aaron, took the boat out of the water. You have the mast and all the parts, you have to put them down in order to tow your boat. So we did all of that work, and then we spent the majority of the day cleaning the boat. So that was a big chunk of our weekend, was taking care of the boat. But that's all. It's all put away for the fall and winter. And although it's sad, we always love sailing, and it's always sad when we put it away. We know the spring will come again. And I always make pumpkin bars. I think I shared that on the podcast last year. I always make pumpkin bars when the boat comes out of the water. That is a recipe of my mother-in-law. She's no longer with us, but that's a recipe she always made in the fall. So I make that for Jeff. So it's kind of like our nice dessert when the boat comes out of the water. And then our cat got sick last week, and our cat needs some oral surgery. So that will be coming up next week. So just lots of things going on. And so just with all of that, I think it's nice to have that easier knitting, just the mindless knitting, or mostly mindless knitting. So I guess that's why I'm a little hesitant to cast anything on, although I don't think, the sweaters would be hard. It just might be more than I want to think about. The next 2 weekends, I'm going to be out of town, so looking forward to some things. This weekend is our fall break, and so Jenna and I are going up to Minneapolis to the Mall of America. We did that last fall, and she's a senior this year, so it could be one of our last mother-daughter trips together for a while. So we're looking forward to doing that. And then the following weekend, Jeff and I will be traveling to Wausau, Wisconsin. He is playing an organ. He is playing the organ for a hymn festival at a church up there and asked me to go along with him. So I'm excited to do that. So really busy the next couple weekends, and then you know, that October is going to be over before we know it, and into November, and you know, my son's getting married in November. So a busy and exciting time for us. So I think, well, I did want to share one more thing. On those travels, I do intend to go to yarn stores. So near the Mall of America is the Stephen B. yarn store, which I did go to last year, which was fantastic. So I do intend to go back there again. And then in Wausau, it looks like there is a yarn store called Black Pearl. So if any of you have been there, let me know. But I think I will have some time to do that. So looking forward to some different yarn stores. With that, I think that is it for today. So thank you for joining me and listening to all my chatting if you've stuck it out this long. Again, if you would like and subscribe to this channel, I sure would greatly appreciate that. I hope that you are all doing well and are enjoying your fall and are finding some time to do the things that you love to do. Please join in our knit along if you'd like, and comment down below, you know, with projects you're making or whatever you'd like to share. I always love hearing from you guys. So with that, I will say goodbye for now, and I'll see you in a couple weeks. Take care, guys. Bye-bye.